Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. Today, we are going deep on the latest James Bond casting rumors.
Specifically, those swirling around actor Aaron Taylor Johnson.
That's right. And to do that, we are going to be looking very closely at an article from E's News,
Published just yesterday, April 3rd, 2025.
featuring an interview with a certain former 007 himself.
Mr. Pierce Brosnan.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So our mission today, if you choose to accept it, is to try to decode the current state of the Bond speculation.
And to understand why Brosnan's opinion is so significant.
And also see if there are any official updates on the future of the franchise.
Right, so let's kick things off with Pierce Brosnan.
As I mentioned, he did this interview with Yahoo Entertainment that was just posted yesterday, April 3rd.
And his reaction to this idea of Aaron Taylor Johnson as Bond is pretty positive.
Yeah, he really is.
He says, quote, "I think he would be very good."
Yeah, it's interesting, though. It's not just the endorsement. It's also the backstory.
Absolutely.
I mean, the article highlights that Brosnan and Taylor Johnson,
have a connection.
they've worked together.
Yeah, they were both involved in this 2009 film, The Greatest.
Right. And not only that,
Brosnan was actually a producer.
he executive produced it
And he cast Taylor Johnson.
in the film.
So that's more than just,
Yeah,
a passing comment from one actor to another.
absolutely. It's not just some guy,
Right.
seeing him on a magazine cover being like, oh, I think he would be good.
No, this is a guy who has
Worked with him.
worked with him and seen him in action.
Yeah, and there's even a great quote in here where Brosnan recalls Taylor Johnson on set saying, quote, "He took the space, filled the space with passion and energy."
I love that.
Yeah, it's a really vivid description.
Right. It is.
It really gives you a sense of the impression that Taylor Johnson must have made even back then.
Even as a younger actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we think about Brosnan's own time as Bond, he definitely had that,
Suave charm.
suave charm, that kind of intensity.
Yeah.
And the way he's describing Taylor Johnson filling the space with passion and energy, it does kind of suggest that he sees some of those same quality, those essential Bond qualities.
Mm-hmm.
And I love his concluding thought. He says, if he wished it, wanted it, and got it, he would be great.
Yeah, that's a really interesting statement.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that feels like a genuine vote of confidence.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like he's just, being polite. It sounds like he genuinely thinks that this guy could do it.
He's got the chops.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't the first time we've heard Taylor Johnson's name connected with Bond.
No, it's not.
The E! News piece sort of traces back the timeline of these rumors.
Right.
Can you walk us through that?
Well, so the speculation really started to gain some traction.
When?
Back in 2023, following Daniel Craig's last appearance as Bond in No Time to Die.
Which was 2021.
Which was 2021, right? So, ever since then.
Yeah, the question has been looming.
The question has been looming large.
Who will be the next?
Who will step into those very iconic shoes?
We should also point out right here that the article is very careful to say, despite all this chatter, there's been no official announcement.
Right.
And in fact, there's a reference to a report that came out in March of 2024.
From E! News.
Yeah, from their own sources, saying that at that time, Taylor Johnson had not been offered the role.
Right.
So really, this is all still just speculation.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that what we read, even in, seemingly reputable publications, isn't always a done deal.
Right.
It's not like, oh, well, they printed it. It must be true.
Absolutely.
And to add to this whole,
The intrigue.
we also have to consider how Aaron Taylor Johnson himself
has reacted to all this.
Right.
A! News refers to an interview he gave to Esquire back in August of 2023.
Right.
And his response to all of these rumors was pretty...
I don't know if guarded is the right word, but...
Yeah, carefully worded.
Carefully worded.
Very measured. He said, quote, "It's not really for me to say anything. I just focus on the things I can have my hands in right now, what's in front of me right now."
It's the textbook actor response when they can't say yes and they can't say no.
You can't confirm or deny.
Right.
And I think that just adds to the mystery.
It really does. I mean, you could read that a couple of different ways, right?
Totally.
Like maybe he's actually been in discussions with the studio and he's just,
Has to be discreet.
He has to be discreet. Or maybe his name is just, one of many that's being bandied about.
Right. It's just part of the mix.
Right.
So now I want to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Because aside from just who's going to be the next Bond,
right,
what does the E! News article say about where the franchise itself might be going?
Good question.
Like, what's the vision?
Well, it does mention some interesting comments from the Amazon MGM studio executives. Courtney Valenti and Sue Kroll.
And this was at CinemaCon.
This was at CinemaCon just a few days ago, April 2nd. And what I found really telling in their statement was that they talked about honoring the legacy of this iconic character, but also, bringing a fresh and exhilarating new chapter.
So that's really the big challenge, isn't it?
That is the tightrope they're walking, right?
Like, how do you pay homage to
over 60 years?
6 decades of cinematic history.
Right.
While also making something that feels
fresh and new and
relevant to modern audiences.
To today's audiences.
It's a huge task.
It is.
I mean, you can't just completely reinvent Bond.
Yeah, you lose the essence of it.
Right. Then it's just
some other action movie.
Yeah, exactly.
With a different name.
But you also can't just keep rehashing the same old...
Right. Tropes and formulas. So it sounds like they're really, aware of that balance.
Yeah. Trying to find that sweet spot.
They have to.
And I wonder if that's part of the reason why someone like Aaron Taylor Johnson
is so intriguing.
Is such a hot commodity right now.
I think so.
Because he is a very different type of actor compared to, say, Daniel Craig.
Right.
And that could signal a desire to move in a slightly new direction.
To maybe shake things up a little bit.
Now, to give us a little context, the E! News piece also briefly mentioned some other film releases.
Around this time.
Yeah, that are coming out around the same time.
Right. Always good to see what else is out there.
Yeah, what else is competing for eyeballs?
Vying for audience attention.
So they list a few upcoming movies, and this is for late March and April of 2025.
Okay.
We've got a live-action Snow White reimagining.
I saw a trailer for that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Okay.
Very different from the animated classic.
I'd be intrigued.
Yeah. There's a thriller called Ash. Nicole Kidman, starring in a film called Holland.
Okay.
A film with a rather interesting title, Death of a Unicorn.
Wow.
And even a Minecraft movie with Jason Momoa.
Which actually comes out today?
Today, April 4th.
So yeah, quite the mix.
Of genres and stars. It really is. And, while these films are obviously very different from the world of James Bond,
right,
I think it's important to consider the landscape that any big film release, especially Bond, is gonna have to face.
Right.
I mean, they need to make sure that
they stand out.
Not only do they not alienate the existing fan base,
right,
and they also offer something that's gonna
bring in new people
through the noise.
Yeah, in a very crowded marketplace.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think we've done a pretty good job of breaking down this News article.
I think so.
The main takeaways here seem to be that Pierce Brosnan has given this very public blessing
to Aaron Taylor Johnson
as a possible Bond.
Right.
And he's speaking from experience, having worked with him before.
Exactly.
These rumors have been around for a while.
Since 2023.
Since Daniel Craig's exit, but still no official word.
Nope.
And Taylor Johnson himself is playing it very close to the vest.
Very coy.
Yeah.
Not giving anything away.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the studio...
Amazon MGM.
Honoring the legacy.
But also, shaking things up.
Bringing something new.
So there you have it, folks.
The current state of play.
As of today, April 4th, 2025.
The identity of the next James Bond is still...
a mystery.
Officially a mystery.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Is certainly a frontrunner.
A name to watch.
A name to watch.
And that brings us to a final thought for all of you out there listening.
Yes.
We've heard Pierce Brosnan talk about Taylor Johnson's passion and energy. And we've heard the studio's desire for, this fresh, exhilarating new chapter.
Right.
So what do you think, what are the most important qualities that the next actor needs to bring to the role of James Bond?
What's essential?
What's essential? How can they honor this, incredible legacy, this iconic character, but also, forge a new path?
Take it in a new direction.
For 007.
It's a question that's going to keep us all guessing.
Until we get that official announcement.
So until next time, folks, keep diving.
Deep exploring.
And we'll see you back here on The Deep Dive.
Soon.
Bye.